The ship was falling. Inside the small explorer vessel, Ryan Hale could hear nothing but the roar of wind and the sharp hum of warning lights. The stars outside twisted into streaks of gold and blue as his ship tumbled toward a glowing planet below. He had been traveling alone for weeks, mapping an unexplored sector near the edge of known space, when a sudden burst of radiation hit his ship's core. Everything failed in seconds. The engine, the stabilizers, the guidance system. Now gravity was pulling him down. He tried one last time to steady the ship, hands shaking on the worn controls. "Come on, stay with me," he whispered. The ship only groaned in reply. Through the cracked window, he saw a wide planet covered in silver clouds and deep blue seas. A ring of light surrounded it like a crown made of stardust. He braced for impact. When the ship hit the surface, a wave of dust and sound exploded around it. Metal screamed. The crash dragged on for what felt like forever, until finally the world went silent. Ryan woke up hours later. His head hurt, but he was alive. That was enough for now. The cabin lights flickered weakly. One side of the ship was torn open and warm air rushed in. He pushed himself up, coughing as smoke drifted around him. His survival suit was dented but working. The oxygen levels were dropping fast. "Computer," he said quietly, though he already knew the answer. "Status." A faint voice replied through static, "Power at 7%. Hull breach detected. External environment, breathable atmosphere. Temperature 22 degrees Celsius. That last part made him pause. Breathable air, and that was rare luck. He reached the emergency hatch and forced it open. The outside light was blinding. When his eyes adjusted, he saw a world unlike any he had ever seen. The sky was pale gold with two suns glowing side by side. The land stretched in smooth plains of white grass that shimmered like glass. Far away, silver mountains rose into the clouds and strange birds with long crystal feathers glided through the air. Everything seemed calm, almost peaceful. Ryan stepped out carefully, feeling the soft ground beneath his boots. The air smelled faintly of rain and something sweet like fruit. He removed his cracked helmet and took a cautious breath. It was fresh, cool, and alive. He looked back at his ship. The side was crushed, the fuel cells leaking blue mist. There was no chance of flying again. He had to find help or at least shelter. "All right, one step at a time," he murmured. He grabbed his small backpack, filled it with a scanner, a water filter, a light tool, and a tiny translator device. Then he began to walk toward the horizon, where the ground rose gently into rolling hills. The planet was silent except for the sound of his own footsteps and the soft hum of distant wind. As he walked, he noticed faint marks on the ground, perfect circles pressed into the soil, as if made by something heavy and deliberate. Not animal tracks. Machines, maybe? Or something else. Hours passed. The suns climbed higher, bathing the world in soft light. Ryan found a small stream and knelt beside it. The water was clear and bright, almost glowing. He touched it and felt warmth instead of cold. When he took a sip, it tasted light, like air. "This planet is beautiful," he said softly, amazed. But beauty could also mean danger. His scanner beeped gently, picking up faint energy signatures ahead. There was life, organized, structured, and near. He followed the signal until he reached a ridge. From there, he saw a vast valley below. In the center stood tall towers made of crystal and silver, glimmering under the suns. Between them were long bridges, gardens, and glowing walkways. The place looked alive, breathing with soft light. It wasn't a ruin. It was a city. Ryan felt both awe and fear. There was intelligent life here. He hesitated, wondering if he should go closer. The translator could help him speak, but he had no idea how these beings would react to him. He had read enough reports to know first contact could go wrong even with friendly intentions. Still, staying in the open wasn't safe. His oxygen backup would fail by nightfall. "Guess I don't have a choice," he whispered and started down the hill. The closer he got, the more he noticed small movements between the tall grasses. Shadows shifting, faint glints of metal. Someone was watching him. He stopped and slowly raised his hands to show he meant no harm. "Hello," he called out, his voice echoing slightly. "I come in peace." At first, there was no answer. Then, from the mist ahead, figures began to appear. Tall, graceful beings with shining skin the color of polished silver and eyes that glowed faintly like sapphires. They wore light armor that shimmered with the reflection of the suns. Each carried a slender staff glowing at one end, not like a weapon but a tool of power and command. Ryan's breath caught in his throat. They were all women, strong, calm, and strangely beautiful in a way that spoke of confidence and discipline, not vanity. Their movements were precise and silent. The first of them stepped forward. She was taller than the rest, her hair like liquid gold tied back with a metal band. Her gaze was steady, intelligent, and filled with curiosity rather than anger. Ryan felt the translator hum softly at his collar. Then he heard her voice, clear and calm. "You are not of this world." He nodded, careful to keep his tone gentle. "That's right. My ship crashed. I didn't mean to come here. I'm just looking for help." The woman tilted her head slightly. Around her, the others exchanged short glances. She spoke again. "You are alone?" "Yes," Ryan said quietly. "I'm the only one." There was a long pause. Then she raised her staff and a circle of soft light surrounded him. His scanner beeped once but showed no danger. Only a field of energy scanning him gently. The glow faded. "You are unharmed," she said finally. "You will come with us," Ryan hesitated. "Where are we going?" The woman didn't answer directly. "The Queen will want to see you." He blinked in surprise. "Queen?" "Yes," she said simply, her expression unreadable. "She rules the city of Valora. No stranger enters our land without her knowing." Ryan looked toward the shining city in the distance, then back at the group of armored women. There was no threat in their stance, only quiet strength. He could sense that they were warriors, trained and disciplined, but also guided by reason. "All right," he said softly. "I'll go." Two of them walked beside him, their steps silent. As they moved, Ryan noticed how the grass bent slightly under their feet, glowing for a second before fading. Even the air around them seemed to hum with quiet energy. They traveled through fields and crystal paths until they reached the outer gates of Valora. From up close, the city was breathtaking. Towers of glassy stone rose like frozen lightning, connected by thin bridges that shimmered in midair. Streams of light flowed through the streets like living rivers. The guards at the gate bowed slightly to the tall woman leading the group. She motioned for Ryan to follow. "You will speak only when asked," she said politely. "Do not fear. No harm will come to you here." He nodded, grateful for her calm tone. As they entered the city, people stopped to watch. Everywhere he looked, there were more warrior women, each carrying herself with quiet pride and purpose. They were clearly a society built on discipline and strength, yet their expressions weren't harsh. There was harmony here, an order that came from respect rather than fear. Ryan couldn't help but wonder what kind of queen ruled such a place. As they reached a long, shining avenue, the golden-haired leader finally turned to him. "I am Seren, captain of the guard. You have entered the realm of Queen Alera. Few outsiders have seen Valora and lived to tell of it, not because we destroy them, but because our world lies hidden beyond the sight of the stars." Ryan tried to smile, though his heart raced. "Then I'm honored to be here." Seren studied him for a long moment, her eyes thoughtful. "You speak with courage, traveler. We will see if it is true courage, or only words." Before he could answer, she turned and led him toward the tallest tower in the city. Its walls shone like water under sunlight. As they walked through the grand entrance, the air filled with soft musical tones, a song that seemed to come from the stones themselves. Ryan felt awe rising in his chest. He didn't know what fate awaited him, but one thing was certain. He had landed on a world unlike any other. And somewhere within that shining tower, a queen was waiting, one whose choice would change both their worlds forever. The grand hall of Valora was silent as Ryan entered. He followed Captain Seren, her silver armor shining softly under the golden light that poured through the crystal ceiling. The walls were alive with faint patterns that moved like ripples on water. Strange flowers grew from tall pots, their petals glowing faintly blue. The air was warm and carried a gentle scent of metal and rain. Ryan tried not to stare too much, but everything felt new. The design, the light, even the sound of footsteps on the smooth floor. It was as if the whole place was breathing. At the end of the hall stood a raised platform made of clear stone. Upon it was a throne carved from a single piece of crystal. A tall woman sat there, her calm eyes fixed on him from the moment he stepped forward. Her presence filled the room, not because she was loud or fierce, but because she was still calm, balanced, and powerful in silence. This was Queen Alera. Her skin shone faintly like moonlight, and her long dark hair was braided with thin silver threads. Her crown was simple, more like a band of light than a heavy ornament. She wore a long robe that looked woven from mist and metal. When she spoke, her voice was clear, gentle, but carried authority. "You are the traveler who fell from the sky." Ryan stopped at the foot of the steps and bowed slightly, unsure what their custom was. "Yes, Your Majesty. My name is Ryan Hale. I mean no harm. I only wish to survive and perhaps find a way to contact my people." Alara studied him for a long time, her eyes thoughtful. Around her stood several warriors, all silent. Captain Seren took her place beside the throne. The Queen finally said, "We do not often receive visitors from beyond the stars. The last time one came, long ages ago, it brought war to our world. You arrive alone, without army or weapon. Yet the sky fire that brought you here frightened many." "I understand," Ryan said carefully, "but I promise, I didn't come here by choice. My ship crashed. I have no weapon, no army, and no wish to cause trouble." Alara nodded slowly. "Words are easy. Truth is proven by action." Ryan could feel the attention of the guards watching him quietly. He swallowed and met the Queen's gaze. "Then tell me how to prove it." The Queen leaned back in her seat, thoughtful. "You will stay in Valora as a guest. You will learn our ways and we will learn yours. But before we give you rest, you must face a challenge of the flame, not of strength but of spirit. It will show us who you are." Ryan frowned slightly, confused. "A challenge? What must I do?" Alara's lips curved in a faint smile. "You will know when the time comes. Captain Seren will guide you." Seren led him out of the hall and into the open courtyards of the palace. Valora was even more beautiful in daylight. The city seemed to float with light. Walkways shimmered underfoot and buildings curved like waves frozen in time. The people watched him as he passed, whispering softly among themselves. Some looked curious, others cautious. Seren walked beside him in silence until they reached a circular garden filled with glowing plants. In the center was a tall pillar covered in strange runes. "This," Seren said, "is where the Queen's challenge will begin." Ryan looked at the pillar, puzzled. "What do I have to do?" "The flame of Valora," she explained, "tests what burns in your heart. It does not harm the body. It shows truth." That didn't exactly make him feel relaxed, but he nodded anyway. "All right. How do I start?" Seren placed a crystal sphere in his hands. It was warm and light, pulsing softly like a living heart. "Hold this and think of why you came here. Think of what you seek." Ryan took a deep breath and closed his eyes. The warmth grew stronger, spreading through his arms and into his chest. For a moment he saw flashes of light, memories of home, of the stars, of laughter with his old crew. Then he saw the crash, the fear, the loneliness of space. When he opened his eyes again, the sphere glowed a deep gold. Seren's expression softened slightly. "The flame accepts truth," she said quietly. "You spoke from the heart. What does it mean?" Ryan asked. "It means," Seren said, "you are not here to harm. The Queen will see this. But the challenge is not over." That evening, Ryan was brought to a tall observation tower where the Queen awaited him again. The sky outside was glowing with 2 setting suns, painting the world in silver and pink. Alara stood near a balcony watching the horizon. "You have passed the first part of the challenge," she said without turning. "The flame showed that your heart carries no malice. But there is more we must learn." Ryan stepped closer, careful and respectful. "What do you wish to know, Your Majesty?" "Your kind," Alara said slowly. "Humans, they build, they explore, they conquer. You travel far, even when there is no need. Why?" Ryan thought for a moment. "Because we're curious," he said honestly. "We want to understand what's out there. We want to see if we're alone. Sometimes that leads to mistakes, yes, but also to hope. We're always searching for something greater than ourselves." The Queen turned to face him, her expression calm but thoughtful. "Hope?" she repeated softly. "A fragile thing." "Maybe," Ryan admitted, "but it's the one thing that keeps us moving forward." Alara's eyes met his. "You speak as one who has seen much loss." He looked down. "Space can be lonely, Your Majesty. It makes you realize how small you are, and how much every connection matters." There was silence for a moment. Then the Queen said, "Perhaps that is the true flame. Not power, but heart." The next day, the second part of the challenge began. Ryan was taken to the Hall of Balance, where several warriors trained. Instead of weapons, they used smooth staffs that hummed softly as they moved. Their movements were like a dance, precise, graceful, and full of purpose. Seren handed Ryan a small rod similar to theirs. You will join them, she said. Ryan blinked. Join them? I've never used one of these. Then learn, she said calmly. Not through strength, through understanding. The warriors began their routine again, moving in a pattern. Ryan tried to copy them. At first he stumbled, moving too fast, then too slow. The staff slipped from his hand once, earning a few soft chuckles. But he didn't give up. He watched, studied their rhythm, their calm focus. Slowly he began to move in time with them. His steps became smoother, his balance better. When they finished, Saren nodded slightly. You learn quickly. Ryan smiled, panting lightly. Or maybe I just really don't want to embarrass myself. To his surprise, Saren almost smiled back. Humor in difficulty, that is strength too. Later that night, Queen Alara invited him again to her hall. The challenge was complete. Ryan felt nervous, unsure what she would decide. The queen stood beside a tall flame burning in a crystal basin. Its color shifted from blue to gold, as if alive. You have shown honesty, patience, and humility, she said. You repaired one of our signal devices today without being asked. You did so not for reward, but to help. Why? Ryan shrugged lightly. Because it was broken. I know how it feels to be stuck and helpless. I just wanted to fix something. Alara's expression softened. Your nature is unusual. You value creation more than domination. Among my people, strength is measured by control, order, and endurance. But perhaps there is another kind of strength, one that builds rather than commands. Ryan met her gaze. Maybe the best strength is the one that helps others stand. The queen studied him for a long time, then smiled gently. The first real smile he had seen from her. Perhaps that is true. She turned toward the flame. The challenge is ended. You have passed. Ryan let out a quiet breath of relief. Thank you, Your Majesty. Alara looked at him thoughtfully. Do not thank me yet, traveler. Passing the challenge does not mean your journey here is done. It only means you have begun to understand us. And perhaps we have begun to understand you. He bowed slightly. Then I'll keep learning. Alara's gaze lingered on him a moment longer before she said softly, See that you do, Ryan Hale of Earth. For the path ahead is not of trials, but of choices. And choices, more than battles, decide the fate of worlds. Ryan nodded, feeling the weight of her words. He didn't know what future awaited him on this strange and beautiful planet. But one thing was clear. His arrival here was no accident. Somehow, destiny had brought him to the Queen of Valora, and deep inside, a quiet flame had begun to burn, one that neither distance nor time could easily put out. Morning light filled the towers of Valora with gold. The twin suns rose together, their beams passing through the crystal walls until the whole city shone like a living jewel. Ryan woke in a round chamber near the edge of the palace. The bed was soft and made of woven silver threads that adjusted to his shape. For a moment he simply lay there, trying to believe that all this was real. A few weeks ago he had been a lone explorer in deep space. Now he was the first human guest of an alien queen. He stood and looked outside. Far below he saw the people of Valora beginning their day. Warriors trained in the open squares, merchants arranged bright stones and glowing fruits on floating tables, and small children chased light spheres that hummed gently above the ground. It was peaceful and full of life. A soft tone sounded at the door. When it opened, Captain Saren stepped in. She bowed slightly. Good morning, traveler. The Queen has asked for you, Ryan nodded. Is this about another challenge? Saren's calm eyes showed the hint of a smile. In Valora, every sunrise brings a new challenge. Come. They walked through long corridors filled with faint music. The walls seemed to hum with energy as they passed. Finally, they entered a wide chamber where Queen Alara stood near a circular pool of light. She greeted him with a small nod. Ryan Hale of Earth, you have shown courage and honesty, but the true test of the flame begins today. Ryan bowed respectfully. What must I do, Your Majesty? The flame, Alara said, pointing to the pool, is not only a symbol, it is energy that lives within our city. When our ancestors built Valora, they captured a piece of the planet's heart and turned it into living fire. It warms our homes and powers our towers, but its balance has begun to fade. Serene added quietly. The flame chamber deep below the city is weakening. If it fails, Valora will fall into darkness, Ryan frowned. Can it be repaired? That is what we hope to learn, said the Queen. You are skilled with machines and energy systems. Saren will take you there. Help us restore what we cannot touch. Ryan's heart quickened. I'll do my best. The path to the lower chambers led through a maze of glowing tunnels. The air grew warmer and carried a faint sound like a heartbeat. As they descended, Ryan's scanner began to flash. The readings were unstable, waves of energy rising and falling, almost alive. At the final gate, 2 guards stepped aside. Beyond it was a huge circular hall filled with light. In the center floated a sphere of pure flame, suspended above a ring of crystal pillars. It pulsed slowly like breathing. Every pulse sent gentle ripples of light across the walls. Ryan stood in awe. "It's beautiful," Serene nodded. "And dying. For 3 moons its rhythm has faltered. No one has found the reason." Ryan moved closer, checking the devices around the base. He saw ancient control panels built from metal and stone, their symbols glowing faintly. The design was different from anything he knew, but he could see logic in it, a mix of technology and art. He began working carefully, touching nothing until he understood the flow. "These channels carry power to the upper city," he said. "But one line is overloaded. It keeps pulling energy faster than the core can give." Seren watched him curiously. "Can you fix it?" "Maybe," Ryan said. "But I'll need to redirect the excess energy first. If I can build a temporary loop, the flame can rest and recover." He opened his pack and took out pieces from his broken ship, a few cables, small connectors, and a handheld converter. Seren raised an eyebrow. "You repair the heart of a city with broken parts?" Ryan smiled faintly. "Where I come from, we call that making do." She tilted her head, almost amused. "Humans are strange." "Yeah," Ryan said, connecting the wires. "But sometimes strange works." For hours he worked while the flame flickered above. Sweat ran down his neck and the heat made breathing hard. Seren stayed beside him, silently handing tools when he asked. The guards watched with cautious hope. Finally, he adjusted the last connector and stepped back. "All right, let's see." He pressed a small switch. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the flame brightened, its pulse steadying. A deep hum filled the chamber, calm and balanced. "It's stable," Ryan said with relief. "The overload's gone." Seren stared at the glowing core, eyes wide. "You did it?" Ryan smiled tiredly. "We did it." They returned to the surface hours later, where the suns were beginning to set. When they entered the throne hall again, Queen Alara rose from her seat. The moment she saw the steady light returning to the tower windows, she understood. "The flame lives," she said softly. "You have saved Valora." Ryan bowed. "I only fixed what was broken. The real work was already here." The Queen's eyes warmed. Humility and wisdom in one heart, rare. That evening, a gentle celebration filled the city. No loud music or grand feasts, only soft lights and calm joy. People placed small glowing stones along the streets, each one a sign of gratitude. Children ran past Ryan laughing, leaving trails of golden sparks in the air. Serene approached him, offering a cup of clear, sweet drink. "It is called Lura," she explained. "For new beginnings." Ryan accepted it and smiled. "Thank you." As they stood among the shining streets, Seren spoke quietly. "The Queen rarely trusts outsiders, but she sees something in you, something we have forgotten." "What's that?" Ryan asked. "Wonder," Seren said simply. "We train for strength, discipline, and logic, but you look at the world as if every sunrise is a gift. That spirit reminds us why Valora was built." Ryan looked up at the 2 moons rising over the towers. "Maybe your people taught me that today. You keep your world alive by balance, not control. That's something humans need to learn too." Seren nodded slowly. "Perhaps we learn from each other." Later, Ryan was called once more to the Queen's private garden. It was quiet there, filled with small fountains that glowed from within. Alara stood near a pool reflecting the twin moons. "You have passed the test of the flame," she said. "You gave life back to our city, not through force but through understanding." Ryan shook his head modestly. "I only followed what made sense." The Queen turned to face him. "And yet sense alone does not save hearts. You believed even when our people had given up. That belief is power." For a moment they were silent, listening to the soft sound of water. Then Alara said, "Tell me, traveler, what do humans seek when they leave their own world behind?" Ryan thought before answering. "We seek connection. Every time we find a new world, we hope someone's out there waiting for us, someone who can remind us we're not alone." The Queen's eyes softened. "Then perhaps your journey has already succeeded." Ryan met her gaze. The air between them felt calm, warm, filled with quiet understanding. Alara turned back toward the pool. Valora will remember you, Ryan Hale. But your place among us is not yet decided. The council will wish to know more about your world and your people, your ways. Tomorrow you will speak before them. He nodded. I'll do my best, she smiled gently. You already have. That night Ryan couldn't sleep. He stood at his window looking out over Valora. The towers glowed softly, their light reflecting off the distant hills. For the first time since the crash, he felt peace. Not just safety, but belonging. He thought about the Queen, about Seren, about the people who had accepted him despite their doubts. He wondered what they saw when they looked at him, I guessed. A curiosity or something more. Somewhere deep inside, a quiet feeling began to grow. The sense that his arrival here was part of something larger than fate. The flame he had helped restore still glowed beneath the city, strong and steady. And in his own heart another flame burned, small, human, and full of hope. The twin suns were high in the sky as Ryan Hale walked through the halls of Valora. He had grown accustomed to the city's quiet glow, to the harmony of light and stone. Even after the test of the flame, he could still feel the weight of the Queen's gaze upon him, patient, observing, as if she could see everything that passed in his mind. Captain Seren walked beside him, her steps measured and silent. Today, she said softly, you will meet the Council of Valora. They will ask questions about your world. Your answers must be truthful and calm. Ryan nodded, though a quiet tension pulled at his chest. After the challenge, he had expected rest, maybe even praise. Instead, he felt anticipation, like standing at the edge of a vast unknown sea. They will judge your worth, Seren continued, but not only by words. They will feel your honesty, your spirit, your heart. Ryan took a deep breath. I understand. The council chamber was a vast oval room, high-ceilinged, its walls made of interlaced crystal strands that glimmered in soft light. Around the edges sat the council members, all women, tall, disciplined, with eyes that shone like polished sapphires. Their presence radiated calm authority, yet there was no intimidation in their posture, only focus. At the head of the chamber, Queen Alara waited, seated on a throne of clear crystal. Her gaze met his immediately. It was steady, patient, yet filled with something he could not name, a quiet certainty. You may speak, she said simply. Ryan stepped forward, feeling the room hum with quiet energy. Honored members of the council, he began. I am Ryan Hale from Earth. I have traveled far and my arrival here was not planned. My ship was damaged in space and I only wish to survive. I have seen your city, your people, and your ways. I have learned that strength is not only in arms or discipline, but in understanding, patience, and care. The council was silent. He felt no interruption, no movement, only quiet attention. One of the members, a woman with hair like silver light, leaned slightly forward. You speak well, human, but why should we trust you? Your kind has history with conquest and greed. How can we know your heart is as you say? Ryan took a slow breath. I cannot speak for all of humanity, but I can speak for myself. I am not here to conquer. I am here to understand, to help if I can, and to learn from your world. I will not harm you, nor will I take anything you do not wish to give. Another member, older and with eyes like polished stone, asked, And what is it you seek here on Valora? Is it survival, friendship, knowledge, or something else? Ryan hesitated for a moment, feeling the weight of his words. I seek connection. I have traveled alone through the stars and have learned that survival is more than staying alive. It is sharing, helping, and understanding. I wish to know your people, to learn what makes your world strong, and perhaps to offer what I can in return. Alara spoke then, her voice calm and soft. Ryan Hale, you have shown honesty, courage, and a willingness to serve others without expectation. These are traits rare even among our own. The council has seen your deeds, repairing the flame, learning our ways, acting without seeking reward. But now it is time for a choice. Ryan looked to her, confused. A choice? Yes, Alara said, rising gracefully. Her robe flowed like liquid mist around her as she approached. In Valora, tradition holds that the queen may choose a companion not only by strength but by spirit. A mate is not a ruler's possession but a partner in thought, heart, and vision. You have shown that your heart is steadfast, your mind adaptable, and your spirit compassionate. These are qualities we value above all else. The chamber was quiet. Ryan felt his chest tighten. He had never imagined such a moment. The Queen stopped a few steps from him. Her eyes, deep and knowing, seemed to read his thoughts. The choice is mine to offer. It is not made lightly nor hastily. You have been tested in honesty, courage, and intellect. You have passed all challenges and proved your understanding of what we hold sacred. Ryan's voice was quiet. Your Majesty, I do not know if I deserve... Alira smiled faintly. Deserving is not required. Understanding, trust, and willingness, and these are. You have these, and thus the Council and I have reached a conclusion. The Council members shifted slightly, their attention fully on Ryan. Alira spoke once more. Ryan Hale of Earth, you have earned a place not only as a guest of Valora, but as a partner beside me should you accept. This is an honor not given lightly. Will you stand with me? Not as servant, not as subject, but as a companion in thought and in vision. Ryan felt the weight of the moment settle over him. He thought of the twin suns, the glowing city, the people he had met, and the Queen whose calm certainty had guided him through trials. He thought of the flame he had helped restore, of lessons learned in patience and care. I will, he said finally, his voice steady. I will stand with you, Your Majesty. Not because I am worthy, but because I choose to learn, to help, and to be trusted. I will stand beside you as a partner in all that you lead. Alira's eyes softened and a small smile curved her lips. Then it is so. Let it be known throughout Valora that Ryan Hale, human of Earth, is recognized not as an outsider, but as a companion of the Queen. The Council members bowed slightly. One by one they stepped forward to offer words of respect and welcome. Though they spoke in their language, the translator made their meaning clear. Acceptance, acknowledgement, and hope. Later, Ryan walked beside Alira through the palace gardens. The twin moons reflected in the fountains and the air smelled of glowing flowers. You will have much to learn, the Queen said. Valora is not only a city, it is a people, a way of thought, and a balance of heart and mind. Your arrival here is a gift not just to you, but to us. Ryan nodded. I want to learn everything I can, and I want to share what I know too. Maybe we can learn from each other. Alira's eyes glimmered. Perhaps we will. You have reminded us that strength is not only in arms, but in wisdom, patience, and compassion. You carry a spark that our people have not seen in many generations. They paused at the edge of a terrace, looking out over the city. The towers glowed in the soft evening light. Children played along the walkways, their laughter carrying faintly on the wind. Warriors trained quietly in the squares, their movements precise yet fluid. Ryan felt a quiet peace settle over him. It is beautiful here, he said softly. It is, Alira agreed. But it is more than beauty. It is balance. And now you are part of that balance. He turned to her, feeling a strange mix of pride and humility. Thank you for trusting me. Alira smiled again. Trust is earned, not given lightly. And you have earned it through courage, humility, and heart. Remember this, Ryan Hale. Your choice matters as much as mine. Together we shape what comes next. That night the city of Valora shone brighter than ever. Lanterns of crystal floated along the streets reflecting the twin moons. People moved quietly, but their energy was alive with understanding. The energy of acceptance and unity. Ryan walked with Alira along a quiet path, speaking little, feeling the bond of trust growing between them. He thought about Earth, about the stars he had traveled, and about the world that had tested him, challenged him, and finally chosen him. He realized that the Queen's choice was more than honor. It was responsibility. A responsibility he accepted gladly, because it allowed him to be part of something greater than himself. In that moment, Ryan understood the truth of Valora. Strength was not measured by who could strike the hardest or who could command the most. Strength was measured by who could stand together, who could understand, who could create and protect without taking. And in that quiet understanding, Ryan felt a warmth bloom in his chest, a quiet flame that mirrored the one he had restored in the heart of the city. The Queen had chosen him, and he had chosen to stand beside her. Together they would shape a future that blended human curiosity with the wisdom of Valora, a partnership built on trust, courage, and heart. For the first time since the crash, Ryan felt truly at home. The sun rose over Valora, spilling golden light across the crystal towers and soft, glowing streets. Ryan Hale walked beside Captain Saran, his thoughts heavy with anticipation. The events of the previous days, the crash, the test of the flame, and the acceptance of the city's people, had left him both exhilarated and uncertain. Today he would face a challenge far different from any he had encountered before. "This day is unlike the others," Seren said quietly, her eyes calm and focused. "The council will meet you and the Queen will make a decision about your future here. You must be honest, patient, and attentive. Every word, every action will be watched." Ryan nodded, feeling a tightening in his chest. "I understand. I'll do my best," Seren inclined her head. That is all anyone can ask. The council chamber was an immense oval room, its walls constructed from interlaced crystal that glimmered like sunlight on water. The ceiling arched high above, refracting light in delicate rainbows across the polished floor. Around the chamber, the council members sat in quiet anticipation. Each woman radiated calm authority, yet there was warmth in their gaze, the same balance of discipline and care Ryan had noticed throughout Valora. At the head of the chamber, Queen Alara sat upon her throne of clear crystal. Her presence commanded attention without a word. Her dark hair, braided with silver threads, shimmered in the sunlight that spilled through the walls. Her gaze rested on Ryan with quiet intensity, as if she could peer into the depths of his thoughts. "You may speak," she said softly, her voice carrying clearly throughout the chamber. Ryan stepped forward, bowing slightly. "Honored members of the council," he began. "I am Ryan Hale from Earth. I did not come here by choice. My ship crashed and I was alone. But in all that I have seen here, I have learned that strength is not measured by force or dominance, but by understanding, patience, and care. I hope to learn from your people, and if I can, to help." There was silence. Ryan felt every eye on him, weighing not only his words but the spirit behind them. A council member with hair like silver light leaned forward. "You speak earnestly, human," she said. "But how can we trust you? Your people are known for conquest and ambition. What guarantees do we have that your words are not empty?" Ryan took a deep breath. "I cannot speak for all humanity. I only speak for myself. I am not here to take or to harm. I am here to understand, to learn, and to help where I can. Trust must be earned, and I hope my actions so far have begun to show you that I mean no harm." Another member, older and with eyes like polished stone, asked, "And what do you seek here on Valora? Knowledge, friendship, survival, or something else?" Ryan paused. "I seek connection. I have traveled alone through the vastness of space and have realized that survival is not merely staying alive. It is sharing, helping, and understanding. I wish to know your world, your people, and your ways, and perhaps offer what I can in return." The chamber was still, but Ryan could sense their attention shift slightly. His words had not only reached their ears, but their hearts. Alara rose slowly, her robe flowing like liquid mist around her. "Ryan Hale, you have shown honesty, courage, and a willingness to serve others without expectation. These are traits rare even among our own people. The council has observed your deeds, restoring the flame, learning our ways, and acting without reward or recognition. Now it is time for a choice." Ryan's chest tightened. "A choice?" "Yes," Alara said, stepping closer. "In Valora, the Queen may choose a companion not by strength alone, but by spirit, wisdom, and heart. A mate is not a servant or subject, but a partner, a companion in thought, heart, and vision. You have proven your steadiness, adaptability, and compassion. These are qualities we hold above all else." Ryan swallowed, feeling a mix of humility and disbelief. I do not know if I deserve." Alara smiled faintly. "Deserving is not required. Trust, understanding, and willingness, and these are what matter. You have shown them all. Therefore the council and I have reached our decision." The council members shifted slightly, leaning forward with attentive eyes. Alara addressed Ryan directly. "Ryan Hale of Earth, you have earned a place not merely as a guest but as a partner beside me, should you accept. This is an honor reserved for those whose hearts, minds, and actions align with our values. Will you stand with me not as a subordinate but as a companion?" Ryan felt the room grow still around him. He thought of the twin suns rising over the city, of the flame he had restored, and of the people who had tested and accepted him. He remembered the lessons of patience, humility, and care. I will," he said, his voice steady. "I will stand beside you, Your Majesty, not because I am worthy, but because I choose to be trusted, to learn and to contribute. I will be your partner in thought and vision." Alara's eyes softened. A faint smile curved her lips. "Then it is so. Let it be known throughout Valora that Ryan Hale, human of Earth is recognized not as an outsider, but as a companion of the Queen. The council members bowed slightly, one by one offering words of respect and welcome. Though their language was foreign, the translator allowed Ryan to understand acceptance, acknowledgement, and hope. Later, Ryan walked through the palace gardens beside Alara. The twin moons were reflected in the calm pools, and the air smelled faintly of glowing flowers. "You will have much to learn," Alara said. "Valora is not only a city, it is a people, a balance of heart and mind. Your arrival is a gift not only to you but to us." Ryan nodded. "I wish to learn all I can and to share what I know. Perhaps we can learn from each other." Alara's eyes glimmered. "Perhaps we will. You have reminded us that strength is not only in arms but in wisdom, patience, and compassion. You carry a spark we have not seen in generations." They paused on a terrace overlooking the glowing city. Children ran along the streets, leaving trails of golden sparks in the air. Warriors trained quietly in the squares, their movements precise yet fluid. Ryan felt a quiet peace. "This city is beautiful," he said softly. "It is," Alara replied. "But more than beauty, and it is balance. And now, you are part of that balance." That night, the city of Valora shimmered like a constellation brought to life. Lanterns floated along streets, reflecting the twin moons in their crystal surfaces. The people moved quietly, but their energy was alive with hope and unity. Ryan walked with Alara along a quiet path, speaking little, letting the peaceful sounds of water and soft light fill the space. He thought about Earth, the stars, and the journey that had led him here. He realized that being chosen by the Queen was more than an honor. It was a responsibility, one he accepted gladly. "You have grown since your arrival," Alara said softly, breaking the silence. "You see the world not only as it is but as it could be. That is a rare gift," Ryan smiled. "And you have shown me that strength is not only in discipline, but in care and understanding. I have learned more in these days than I ever imagined." Alara's gaze softened. "We will continue to learn from each other. Your journey on Valora is only beginning. Remember this: choices matter as much as courage. Together we shape the future." Ryan looked at the city below, glowing under the moons. For the first time since his crash, he felt truly at home. He had crossed galaxies alone, faced the unknown, and found a place where his heart, mind, and skills mattered. The Queen had chosen him, and he had chosen to stand beside her. Together they would bring a new balance to Valora, a partnership born not of power, but of trust, courage, and compassion. And in the quiet of that night, Ryan felt a new flame ignite within him, one that mirrored the flame he had restored, steady and bright, promising hope for both Valora and himself. The city breathed softly around him, alive with light and life, and he knew that whatever challenges awaited, he would meet them alongside the Queen as her companion and as a part of this extraordinary world.